Hi, welcome back to Whisky Wednesday. I'm Joe and every Wednesday I do whisky video reviews. This week it's a rather special whisky I'm reviewing and it's a single cask, independently bottled Invergordon 24-year-old, and I've been sent this by Lady of the Glen, who are the independent bottler. And the reason I'm reviewing this is because they're going to be exhibiting at the Birmingham Whisky Festival on the 2nd of March, so it's in a couple of weeks' time. So if you want to taste these whiskies that I'm about to review, then go to whiskybirmingham.co.uk and check out all the different distributors and exhibitors that are going to be there and buy yourself a ticket. Birmingham's first major whisky festival. Now, an independent bottler could be any one of us. It could be you or me or anyone. Lady of the Glen, they bought casks from various distilleries around the country and they bottle them. They obviously, you have to have an alcohol license to be able to then sell them, but anyone can buy a cask from a distillery and then you choose to bottle it, you know, for your own enjoyment or to sell it. Some of the big independent bottlers out there, companies such as Douglas Lang, they do a huge range of independently bottled single cask whiskies, Weems and many more. But this is a Lady of the Glen. They're a new independent bottler. And again, ladyoftheglen.com, I'll put a link in the description below. So check those whiskies out. So it's an Invergordon, 24-year-old. And it's limited to 167 bottles worldwide as well. That is another thing with single cask whiskies. Because the whiskies only come from one cask, it's an unrepeatable expression of a whisky. So once that's been bottled, that's it. You can't repeat that flavour. The difference between that and a standard, single malt whisky, for example, a Highland Park 12-year-old is a blend of different 12-year-old or over barrels from the warehouse, and then they can obviously buy the similar barrels in and repeat and repeat and repeat. With a single cask, they bottle it at cask strength normally as well, and as I say, it's unrepeatable, and it's often the kind of rarer whiskies and slightly more obscure and hard to find whiskies, which is why it's great to be able to taste 24-year-old single grain whisky. It's not a single malt, it's a single grain, which means I've just used different cereals, not malted barley. So let's give it a bit of a nose. So I think my cat's in the background. Apologies for that little meow you can hear. Well, it's lovely on the nose, really nice. As you can see, it's kind of a lovely gold colour. And on the nose, getting loads of vanilla, like a toasty, buttery vanilla. There's a slight clovey spiciness as well. For 24 years old, it's surprisingly fresh. Yeah, lovely toasty bit of vanilla. Getting baked pears and apples, like a combination of the two. Like, yeah, hot baked pears and apples. There's something quite cereally about it as well. It's almost like a crunchy nut cornflakes in Jersey milk, so there's that kind of creaminess. So imagine after the vanilla from the cereals kind of seeped into the creamy milk, it is getting that lovely kind of creamy, hot, spicy vanilla. Lovely nose. I think a lot of the Invergordons, if you ever get to try an Invergordon, a lot of them do have this vanilla character to them. Lovely. Let's give it a taste. Now on the palate, really nutty. It's like a mix of roasted almonds and roasted hazelnuts. Spices in there play a lovely balance as well. Slight kind of clovey and gingery spice, but they're perfectly balanced, so they don't overpower that kind of vanilla-iness, the nuttiness. Again, it is quite fresh on the palate as well. You'd think for 24 years sitting in one cask, it almost stands a chance of being over-oaked, but it's wonderfully balanced. Let's give it another taste. Yeah, lovely, deep, dark vanilla. There's almost kind of like a carte d'or vanilla ice cream with the little black vanilla pods. It's like that, quite custardy, but I think the spices just interplay beautifully with the cream and vanilla. And the finish is like a slightly gingery biscuit. So have you ever tried the fair trade ginger biscuits with the extra chunks of ginger in? Kind of reminds me of those style ginger biscuits. Really, really nice. Let's just get that last little bit. Yeah, really good. It's bottled at 56%, and some of you may like to add water to that strength as well, and water does tend to open up the flavours. I've been asked before why I don't add water in my reviews, and personally I think I will add water if the whisky benefits. I think this might benefit with a bit of water, but sadly there wasn't quite enough in the bottle for me to be able to taste it with the water and without. But it's fantastic whisky. 24-year-old single cask strength Invergordon by Lady of the Glen. They are going to be at the Whisky Birmingham Festival, so if you do want to try this whisky, I suggest you buy a ticket, and as I say, I'll put a link in the description below, so check it out. I would give that whisky an 8 out of 10. It's a really, really, really bloody good single grain whisky. I'll see you next week. Cheers.